That's what I'm going to tell you. I will. I certainly will. And I hope so. Good night. No. No. Well, not good. You'll see. Okay.
Mario. Hello, Mario.
How are you?
Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. Another week already, huh?
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either, huh?
Over half a year has gone through already.
Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Well. Okay. Everything. Hope everything is good for you and your family. That's the main thing. Yeah.
Thank God for the same to you.
Yeah. Good. We have my daughter and son-in-law came out from New York for 2 weeks. Really, with my little grandson. So, it's always good to have them coming out.
Which grandson is this? The one that was ill?
No, they live here. The one is, do you know Saul Kessler? Do you know Saul? My son-in-law. Do you remember Max Kessler?
Yes.
Do you remember? Yeah, that's his. So his son is my son-in-law.
Oh.
Yeah, very nice. He's a really good guy. So he's here, and it's good to have him here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he owns a hotel in New York, in Pennsylvania. They own a kosher hotel.
In Pennsylvania?
Yeah, called Bushkill. It's a nice area. there. They have waterfalls there, the famous waterfall.
He lives there also in Pennsylvania?
No. He lives in Far Rockaway, but he goes up there. It's about 2-hour drive. He goes up there quite often. A couple times a week, he drives up there. Takes him 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And yes, weekends they have, we during the summer it's the camp, and then during the year they have parties and people make weddings and simchas and shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a nice hotel.
One of my granddaughters is in a camp in Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
As a counselor.
Oh, good.
Yeah. She told me the name of the place. I can't remember.
She's from here. Your granddaughter.
Yeah.
How old is she?
Either 16 or 17.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah,
she has, or maybe 17 going to 18. I don't know.
Oh, good.
When she comes back, she'll be a week here, and then she's going to Israel for a year.
Real? Oh, so she graduated college, high school already. What high school where'd she go to? Which high school?
Shalhevet.
Oh, Shalhevet. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice school. I'm telling you, it's a nice school.
I see that. I'm getting more religious all the time, I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's modern. It's modern.
But very Zionistic, very.
Yeah, the principal. The principal is a cool rabbi. He really is cool. The kids love him.
Really?
Normally you don't find that.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Usually he's the enemy of the children.
Yes. Yeah. This guy, they love him.
How long has he been there?
Oh, a few years already.
Oh, very good. Very good. Yeah.
Velvo.
Hello, Mario. Hello, Elaza.
Velvo. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
We're getting to the end, huh?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
the end is tomorrow, really.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
one
that's
more.
it. We'll kiss.
Today's and then
Yeah, we get into
Today's
Kasuba.
121 and tomorrow's 122. So that's it.
Right.
yeah,
22. Yeah, that's it.
it was a long one. What's the next one again? I said. Alan, what's the next one? I told you and I forgot now.
Ksubis is next one.
Ksubis.
Yeah. Ksubis, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
service, yeah.
After Yevamos, you have a ksuva that you have to pay up.
Yeah, that's right. At the Ksuba.
Anyway, it was great. It's great.
Well,
tomorrow.
Walter, when did we start with Ernie? I started a little before you. And when did you start? When was
No,
did you start?
you didn't start before.
I started before you.
I already went in 1996 or
I know, but then you stopped and then you came over to.
and then I came back. But
Yeah, I know, but
I did the whole
I know.
basically with
Yeah.
Ernie. Then
Okay.
I started with Rabbi Krauss.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
I
for
started.
me, it's the 24th year.
Yeah, well, for me, Ernie, I started with Ernie a long time ago. He used to take me on rounds.
I started 47 years ago in Seattle. That's when we had our first.
But you're
Daf
younger
Yomi.
than me, Elazar. That's what happened.
That's what happens.
Okay.
I learned with a rabbi there, and my father and my brother. We all, and another one. We started. That's from Daf Yomi 47 years ago. Yeah, and then when I moved down here, 2 years later, I would learn in the Kollel, and then Rabbi Karupkins gave the shiur
Yeah,
too.
no, but I learned before that with Rabbi Krauss, and then I learned
Right.
from Ernie, and then
Yeah.
afterwards I learned with Rabbi Karupkin, and then
Yeah, with
afterwards,
Karupkin, yeah. You went back to
Yeah.
Ernie. Yeah. So this is your 20. This is 24. Ernie's teaching for 24 years.
Oh, 32, 33.
33.
Yeah, no.
My goodness.
I'm
Wow.
in my 24th year.
Baruch Hashem. Wow.
I think
Yeah.
I'm in my 5th cycle, but you know what? I still have to concentrate a little bit more.
It's like the first time, huh? Yeah.
Right. So, but this, Ernie, I know I'm boring you, but I just wanted to tell you that this time that we learned through Yevamos, I enjoyed it a lot. It's really fantastic.
Right. Yeah, it is. Really.
I love it.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
I thought I thought as a group, we did a very good job.
Yeah, very good.
We asked the right questions. I mean, it was, we went.
Yeah.
You did phenomenal because it's such a difficult Gemara, and it takes many. This is the first time that I really went through it. And not that I hope that I'll be able to go through it again and basically really understand it properly, because it's there's so many yesoidus and so many halachas and so much. It's just phenomenal Gemara.
The hardest concept is I think, when a woman, 5 brothers and 3 brothers, that's a very difficult part. But generally it's lumdisha.
Yeah, but you see that
the detail.
You see that the Torah was very careful in understanding a woman's needs, and the woman of just understanding that we see by the last couple of prokim that we've learned, that she's believed because she's a human being. When you see that you don't need even one aid and she can be made, it's just phenomenal stuff.
Well, let me ask you a question. I have a meeting tomorrow afternoon. So could we learn at 8 o'clock in the morning?
I would love to.
Sure.
Let's learn at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we'll try to finish up.
Right. Okay.
Let's try to finish the Masechet.
And we'll try to start Ksubis, because we're supposed to start Ksubis tomorrow.
Okay.
So we'll try to do a little bit of both.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
So we're on Kuf Chaf Aleph Rabbi Yehuda Mer Ibar Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava Kula Polik. Remember, there was a machlokes. The Tanna Kama said that if you testify about a person's death beyond 3 days when he died, we don't accept it because maybe his features have changed. But Rav Yehuda said, no, it all depends. It depends on the person, depends on the place, depends on the time. So what is Rabbi Yehuda ben Baba Kula Poli? Is he saying that you could even testify 5 days afterwards, which is Lakula? Or Lachumra? I mean, maybe he'll say beyond 1 day, you cannot testify. So Toshma, the Ugaver de Tova Karmi, person drowned in a place called Karmi. Vasco Abi Hedya Labasar Tlasa Yomin. And the person took him out of this place where he drowned, called Behadi, and it was after 3 days when he drowned. And even though the testimony about his death was beyond 5 days, was beyond 3 days, Rav Dimi allowed the wife to get married. This is another case. He drowned in the Euphrates. And they brought him up at the bridge called Shabishtina. Rava allowed the wife to get remarried on the testimony of the Shushbinim, his friends, beyond 5 days. So, if Rabbi Eliezer is arguing Lakula, so Inu David Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava. So these Morid Asra paskin like Rabbi ben Bava. But if he said, no, even beyond 1 day, you can't testify. So who did these mandarim hold like? Inu David Kaman. So the Gemara says, no, they could hold like the Chachamim, shiny Mayad Samsi. Water preserves the features. And then even beyond 3 days, you can testify. Freit the Gemara, yesterday we learned the Ha'amet Maya Marzumaka. That remember, if you bring up a leg, from a water, then it makes it worse. It seems that water is damaging more. Fine, we agree. When there's a wound, water is bad for a wound. If a person just drowned, there's no wound there. Mitzvahs, some is water will preserve the body more so that you can testify it beyond 3 days. That's as long as you observe the corpse immediately after you take it out of the water. But if you delay a certain amount after it was taken out of the water, then mitvich tofach, it swells up a lot and you would not be able to recognize the person.
They don't talk about the temperature of the water. That has a lot to do with it also. I mean, the warmer the water, the obviously more it faster deteriorates. But,
I know, but water in general, they made the rule that if there's no wound, you'd be able to testify even beyond 3 days. But beyond that, you got to see it right when it comes out of the water. That's the Rambam, the Rambam paskins that way. Mishnah, Nafalamayim. This is a famous Mishnah, an important Mishnah. A person is on a boat and falls into the water. So, Bein sheyesh lehen sof, bein she'ein lehen sof. Mayim sheyesh lehen sof means you can see 4 shores around the water. That means you're like in a pond where you can see the edge where the water meets the land in all 4 areas. That's called Mayim sheyesh lehen sof. Because if a person fell in the water for a period of time that a person would drown, and you can see all the land around the pond, and he didn't get out of there, then you know he's dead. As opposed to mayim she'ein lahem sof, you're out in the ocean. There's no land anywhere. So if someone falls in the water, there you can't testify that he died because you don't know where he went. Maybe he got out. Maybe if he swam 2 miles, there's an island there and he's on the island. Or another boat picked him up. However, the Tana Kama says there's no difference between Mayim Sheyesh Len Sof or Ein Len Sof, Ishto Asura. We are, even by Mayim Sheyesh Len Sof, the Tana Kama is concerned and doesn't allow the wife, because maybe he got away. Rashi says, Rav Meir holds, Rav Meir, that a person can stay alive 1 or 2 days in water. Rav Meir tells a story about a person who fell into a big cistern of water, and he got out of it after 3 days. A blind person went into a cave. The person who leads the blind person around went after him. They both were in there. They were in there for 10 minutes, which is, you can't breathe more than 4 minutes. And they married off their wives. Somebody was on a rope. They lowered him into the water. And then they picked up the rope, and it was just his foot, not connected to his body. If it's from the thigh or above, well, then the guy couldn't survive that. So the wife could marry. But if it's below the knee, she can't get married because a person could survive that. If he fell into a pond which is surrounded by land and you didn't see him get out, ishta muteres. The wife is permitted. But she'ein sof ishta asura. If you can stand and see the 4 directions around you, which is land, that's considered mayim sheyesh lam sof. Hahu gaver de tova ba'agma de samki. Person drowned in a lake. It was called Samki. Answer Rav Shila this. Rav Shila allowed the wife to get married. Amalei Rav Lishmol. Tonishamti, let's put him into Cherem. Obviously, this was a Mayim She'ein Lahem Sof, which we paskined, you can't marry the wife. Let's send him a question. Let him answer the question. Why did he paskin this way? Water that you can't see any land. Ishto asura or muter shachlu ishto asura. He knew the halacha. Now they asked him, Agma demas the Samki. This lake, is it mayim sheyesh lem sof or mayim she'ein lem sof? Shalachlu mayim she'ein lem. You can't see any land. So the question is, Umar my time of it. So they asked him, then why did you allow the wife to get married? So mitata'in, I made a mistake. Anosar rikivin de kavu v'kami, since they're very still waters, they don't have a lot of movement. Kemayim sheyesh lem sof dami. I thought that maybe it should be treated like mayim sheyesh lem sof. But the logi, even the ikegali, there were waves. Emer gali ashpilu. The waves were high enough where maybe we didn't see when he went out. Chastise him. You see, nothing bad happens to a tzaddik. You wanted to chastise him, but in the end, you didn't have to chastise him. That the Yeshua comes from a person who gives good eitzes, like Shmuel. Tanya. They were fishing in the Jordan. One of them went into it's like a cave with water, and he never came out. The sun set. We didn't even see the opening anymore. His friend waited around, and he never came out. And they told his family. Then they identified, in the morning, they could see the opening. And the guy who was in the cave survived because there was enough oxygen, I guess, above the water level. And they made a whole funeral for him, but he showed up to his own funeral. Since this was another case where you couldn't really see all the edges, that's why the wife should have been forbidden to marry. Chacham knew what they were talking about, that Maim sheyesh lem sof ishta muteres, but shein lem sof like this, ishta asura. Yochi Maim sheyesh lem sof nami leichel shem chila shel dogim. Well, maybe we should be concerned even upon that you can see the land, but maybe there's one of these cave openings. So the Maim sheyesh lem sof mechil shel dogim lo shchicha. These things are not found in ponds where you can see the land. That which the Chachamim say, that if you cannot see land and a person falls into water and we don't allow the wife to remarry, regular people. But a Talmid Chacham, no. Because Ida Solik, if he had been saved, people would know about it. However, it's not the halach. The evidence, if the wife married by the evidence, we wouldn't force a divorce. But l'chadchila, we wouldn't marry them. I was traveling by boat. I found there was a boat that had broken up into pieces, was sinking. I figured there might be a Talmid Chacham, oy vavoy that he died, uman Rabbi Akiva. I guess they knew Rabbi Akiva was traveling on that boat. Ucheshaliti bi'abasha, when I came to the beach, Bavi Yasha v'dalef fanai ba'alacha. Rabbi Akiva was teaching. Amarti lo b'ni mi alcha, how did you get out of the water? Armali daf shel sfinan is daminli. A board of the boat, I grabbed onto it. And every wave, it kept my head above. By the way, at one of the Siyum Hashas, I think the one in Los Angeles, or maybe we heard it, I think Rab Lau, or maybe it was the Baltimore Rav, the Rav that used to come slichas at Yavna. He talked about this daf, that the Daf Yomi keeps people alive. He referred to this Gemara, that just like the daf saved Rabbi Akiva, the daf saves everybody who learns the daf. Mikan amar chacham yavo rishayim al adam, yinana lo rosho. If you're dealing with evil people, keep your head down. Don't fight them, because you'll save yourself. Amarti bosa shol kama gdolim divrei chachamim. She'amru ma'im sheyesh lem sof muteres. Ma'im she'en lem sof asura. The boat that Rabbi Akiva drowned in was a ma'im she'en lem sof. And he lived. So it was correct that the Chachamim did not allow wives to marry in that situation. Tanya Rabbi Kiva Pamachas Aisim Alech B'Sfina. I saw a boat breaking up in the water. He was concerned about the Talmid Chacham in that boat, Rab Meir. I arrived in Kapotkia, and Rab Meir was there teaching. Who brought you out of the water? One wave brought me to another wave. I was thrown onto the beach. Okay. What about other dangerous places? Person fell into a lion's den. Ain't me eating alive. You don't give testimony to Mary's wife. Some people survive that. Maybe they're not hungry. Now, if a person fell into a pit of snakes and scorpions, that a person won't survive. There's no chance that they wouldn't have been bitten. He's concerned.
Ernie,
yes.
How come they didn't use the example of Yosef Atzadik? They put him in a pit, and
so Rav Yehuda ben Beseira argues and says that maybe he would not die. Yosef. Or he's like one of those Indian snake charmers who know how to calm the snakes down. Just so happens, maybe the guy who fell into the snake pit is a guy who knows how to handle snakes. So, therefore, the halacha is, so that the Rambam says if you fall into a lion's den, you cannot testify about his wife. But if you fell into a pit of Nechoshev Akravim, you do marry off the wife. Because we paskin like the Stam Baraisa, like not like Rav Yehuda ben Beseira. Tanakama agav itzam azkilei. Tanakama holds that even if he's a chabar, but once he falls into the pit, he's going to step on them. And that's going to make them angry, make them bite him. But a lion's den, Rashi says, is wider. So and sometimes they're not hungry, he says, and they don't eat him. By the
way, I can attest to when you step on a snake, it bites you.
There you go.
I can attest to that.
And
Elazar, you know why I can attest to that?
How's that?
Because I stepped on a snake and it bit me.
Oh my gosh. Where was this, in Africa?
Oh, this was at Mountain Gate. So I stepped on a snake and it bit me.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't blame the snake, it bit me. Thank God I was okay.
Was it poisonous? Wasn't it a poisonous snake?
I don't think so. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here talking to you.
Well, maybe you went to the hospital. Maybe they give you a syrup.
No. I pulled my foot away so fast and I ran faster than I've ever run in my life. And I had a nice skaloi. So that's all.
Oh my. Wow.
It happened 2 years ago, Elazar.
And the golf course, huh?
Yeah, no, after COVID. So, okay. But I can attest to what the Gemara is saying. If you step on the snake, I'll let you know that.
Right. And the Gemara is basically saying, though, that a snake pit is so dense with snakes that when you fall into it, there's no way for you to fall and not trample one or fall on it. But in a lion's den, Rashi says, it's wider, and therefore when you fall in, you might not necessarily fall on the lion, so it won't anger him.
Well, they don't eat unless they're hungry.
No, and if it's not hungry, Rashi says,
yeah, right. We saw that, right? We saw that in the jungle, right, Walter? We saw lions that had a chance to get zebras, and they didn't touch them because they were filled up already. We saw that. They went to Africa.
Okay. Torah bara nafal l'sach kibshen ha'esh. Person falls into a furnace, a fire. Me'id nalav. So that you can give testimony for. Liyarim le'ayan v'shemen. A cauldron with boiling wine or oil. Me'id nalav. So yeah, you can give testimony for that. It burns. Now, Ravacha argues, shall shemen me'id nalav. Oil will burn always. Wine has the property of putting out fire. But wine will get hotter and hotter, and it'll cause burning as well as it goes on. Rav Meir said he survived 3 days. The guy survived. He was an ace. You can't bring a riot from there. What? He survived even though he didn't eat or drink for 3 days? That's not a problem. In the Megillah Esther, Esther told them not to eat or drink for 3 days. Everybody lived. Ella, the problem is when you fall into water for 3 days, you don't sleep. And a person can't live without sleeping 3 days. Person takes a shvua. He's not going to sleep for 3 days. You can't. You took a shvua shav. Malkinus, you give malchus, and the yishan lot you make him sleep right away. So Rab Meir, my time. So Rab Meir, when he said that the guy survived 3 days, and it's not my sinisim, how did he survive? He had a place in the water area. In the bore, there were like edges or cracks that he could lean on and sleep there. So he was able to sleep. But Rabbanan says the sheishav, it was like marble and very smooth. He wouldn't have been able to, he would slip. But Rav Meir, he would have been able to take a little nap. The daughter of Nechunya was the sewer man who dug all the irrigation and sewer dishes. The daughter fell into the large water system. They told Rav Chanina ben Dosa. They told Rav Chanina ben Dosa, and he davened for her. Shalom. He said she's okay. Shni Amalem Shalom, she's okay. Shlish Amalem also, she's out of the board. Amr Labiti Miel, so they asked the daughter, well, how did you get out of the board? Amr Lo, Zachar Shal Rachem is Damli. There was a like a goat, a male sheep. The Zaken Manigo, there was an old man leading the sheep. Maybe it was El Navi. And that led her out of that place. Amr Lo. So they said to Chanina, Navi Ato? Amr Lo, Lo Navi Anachavo Ben Navi. I'm not a Navi, I'm not a son of a Navi. Eladover Shat Tzadik Misasek Bo. This Tzadik spending his whole life helping the community with the water. Ikashal Bozaro, his child should die with water? Can't be. Even though that was the case, his son died of thirst. Shenemar, usvivav nishara me'od. People around tzaddikim, Hashem treats them like kechut hashara. Even a little chet, you might be punished. It means the Kedoshim, the people who are close to Hashem, it's Rabba v'Noira for the people around them. Mishnah. They hear the gossipers the women, saying, oh, such and such guy died. That's enough to marry off. That means they're not giving testimony in Bezdin. They're Mesiach Lefi Tumo. They're telling a story, and you overhear the story. Based on that, the woman can marry. They hear children saying, we're going to listen to the funeral and the hesped of such and such person. Whether the person is miskaven for testimony or he's just telling a story, we can rely on it. Rav Yumi Yisrael, Aval Pishu miskaven. Now, by Israel, you rely on the edus, even though maybe we think he's miskaven to be matir, the woman. By a non-Jew, if he says something where it looks like he's having kavana to be matir the woman, then we don't rely on him. Now, the children said, we're going to a funeral. Maybe the Dimalo Azli. Maybe they didn't go. They were planning on going. They thought the guy would die. Maybe he didn't die. So why would we marry off the wife? We're coming from the funeral. Maybe they're playing with a grasshopper and they call it such and such name. They say, this rabbi was there, this rabbi was there, and these eulogizers were there. So they give more detail where we can rely on them. By a non-Jew, to be matir, then we don't follow the test. Now, how do we know that niskaven lahatir? We'll see in a minute. They do so edus. If his kavanah is to free the woman, we don't listen. If his kavanah is to give testimony, it's fine. How do we know the difference? The goy says, Chaim Yankel died, marry off his wife. So that we will not believe him. But if he gives testimony, mace, stop. That's kavana edus, but that we can listen to. The Rambam says that, like Shulchan Aruch says, that if a goy comes and tells a story, then you can marry off his wife. And a Jew who hears the story can give testimony. If the Ramah says, if the goy just said the guy died, but didn't give details, that's also called Mesech Lefi Tumo. Some argue with the Ramah. Okay? They do so edus. There was a case in front of 85 zkenim, and he battered them. When do we reject the goy's testimony? If he had kavanah to be matir the woman, but just to give testimony, it's a good. But the chacham didn't agree. When we say when a goy is miskavein, it's not a good edus, but meisech lefi tumo. The time we believe him is only if he comes and gives testimony, we don't believe. It's only if he's telling a story and you overhear him telling a story, then we believe. The person heard him say, this Ben Chivoy died. Rav Yosef married off his wife based on that. This guy died. Ahu David Koma Vazel, Manik ben Chasa Tova Chasa. Person said, who's in the house of Chasa? Chasa died. Amr of Nachman Elokim, Achlu Kavri L'Chasa. He took a shvua and he said, I'm sure the fish already ate Chasa. Now, Midibur Rav Nachman, Azad Visu, the Chasa Vinsaba. On hearing what Rav Nachman said, based on what Rav Nachman overheard the goy, the wife married. And the Chacham didn't have a problem with that. That which we said that if a person drowns in water, we can't be mater. Fine. L'chatchila, we won't marry her. If she went and got married, we don't force a divorce. The other way the Gemara learns is no, Rav Nachman married her. Is Chasa around? If he was around, we would have heard rumors about him that he's alive. The halacha is we don't marry lechatchila such a woman. If she got married, right? Ma'im shelam sof. The Rambam says chatchila tova b'ma'im shelam sof afal pisha avad zichros man rav lo tinos ishtav alim nisa lo seitze. If the woman got ahead, went and get married, we don't force a divorce. Ahu nachri davar kamer le Yisrael tol al spasta shay lechavi b'shabta. A goy said to a Jew, cut the wheat, give it to an animal on Shabbos. The ilof you don't katin alof ketakil leploy. I mean, I killed Chaim Yankel. The Amri I told him, Bashali K'ter Shabbos, cook for me food on Shabbos, and if velo Bashali, he didn't cook for me, so I killed him. This is a goy being made Seach Lefi Tumo. Shamet Visuvasa Kamed Abaya. The wife heard, before she got married, she told Abaya, Shahisa Tlosa Rigli. Abaya made her wait 3 yontis. Because he wanted to ask a Shaila. And we'll see tomorrow what the answer was. So we'll learn tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
You know, there was a story, a guy went to a restaurant and he ordered some fish. And the waiter brought him some fish and he's looking over